78% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck, including people making $100,000 per year. This isn't about intelligence. It's not about luck. It's about psychology. In this video, I'm going to show you exactly why you're stuck paycheck to paycheck and the 3 psychological shifts that will get you out. Let me be blunt. You're not stuck because you don't make enough money. You're stuck because of how you think about money. Here's the data. 78% of Americans making $100,000 plus per year live paycheck to paycheck. That's 6 figures and they're still broke. Why? Because they have what I call lifestyle inflation. As their income goes up, their lifestyle goes up with it. Not by the same amount, but enough to keep them broke. Here's how it works. You're making $30,000 per year, you're broke. You get a raise to $40,000, you're still broke. Why? Because you upgraded your apartment, you got a nicer car, you ate out more. You get promoted to $50,000, still broke. You moved to a better neighborhood, your rent went up, your spending went up. You're now making $100,000, still broke. Same cycle. The problem isn't your income. The problem is your lifestyle is tied to your income. So no matter how much you make, you're always broke. This is called the Hedonic Treadmill. Your brain gets used to your lifestyle, so you want a little bit better, and a little bit better, and a little bit better. But your income can only grow so much. Eventually, you hit a ceiling, and then you're stuck. Here's the psychological trick. Your brain doesn't want to admit it's spending too much, so it says, I need to make more money. And then it celebrates when you get a raise. But it doesn't celebrate because you're richer, it celebrates because you can spend more. You're not getting richer, you're getting better at spending money. That's the trap. To escape this trap, you need to understand the 3 money buckets. Bucket 1, necessities. Rent, food, utilities, insurance. This is the stuff you have to pay for to survive. Bucket 2, wants. The fun stuff. Going out, shopping, entertainment, eating out. Bucket 3, savings. The money that builds your future. Here's the problem. Most people have bucket 1 at 70%, bucket 2 at 25%, and bucket 3 at 5%. Or worse, bucket 3 is negative. They're spending more than they make. This is why they're broke. They're allocating almost no money to their future. Here's what rich people do differently. They reverse the priority. They aimed for bucket 1 at 50 to 60%. They've optimized necessities. Bucket 2 at 10 to 15%. They're conscious about wants. And bucket 3 at 25 to 40%, building the future. Notice the difference? It's the same income, but the allocation is totally different. Let me give you an example. You're making $4,000 per month. Poor allocation. Necessities, $2,800, 70%. Wants, $1,000, 25%. Savings, $200, 5%. Rich allocation, necessities, $2,000, 50%. Wants, $500, 12.5%. Savings, $1,500, 37.5%. Same $4,000 income, but one person is building wealth, the other is staying broke. But wait, your brain says, I can't live on $2,000 for necessities. That's impossible. That's the psychological trap talking. You can live on $2,000. You've just gotten used to spending $2,800. Your brain is defending the lifestyle, not your survival. The key is you have to actively optimize your necessities. Cut your rent, get a cheaper car, reduce utility costs, shop smarter for food. This takes work, but it's possible. And once you do it, the gap between income and spending grows. That gap is your wealth. There's another psychological barrier. Scarcity mindset. When you live paycheck to paycheck, your brain goes into survival mode. It's constantly anxious about money. Do I have enough? What if I lose my job? What if I get sick? This anxiety makes you make bad decisions. You overspend on things that make you feel better temporarily. You don't plan for the future because the present is so stressful. This is called tunnel vision. Your brain can only see the immediate problem. It can't see the long-term opportunity. So you get a $500 bonus, your brain says, spend it, you deserve it. Because you're in scarcity mode, you want to feel relief. But if you had an abundance mindset, you'd say, invest it. That's 30 months of compound growth at 10%. The problem is you can't shift to abundance mindset while you're in survival mode. So how do you escape? You have to create a safety net first, a small one. Get a $1,000 emergency fund. That's it, $1,000. Once you have $1,000 in the bank, your brain stops being in survival mode. It's still anxious, but it's not screaming emergency anymore. Then you expand to $3,000, then $5,000. Once you have 3 to 6 months of expenses in an emergency fund, your brain relaxes. It shifts from scarcity to abundance. Now you can think clearly. Now you can make good financial decisions. The psychological shift is powerful. You go from I need money to I want to grow money. That's when everything changes. Here's a practical tool, the 30-day rule. When you want something you don't need, you wait 30 days. If you still want it after 30 days, you can buy it. If you forgot about it, you never actually were going to use it. This sounds simple, but it's incredibly powerful. Why? Because bucket 2, wants spending, is often impulse-driven. Your brain sees something, it gets a dopamine hit, and you buy it. But if you wait 30 days, that dopamine fades, and you realize you don't actually need it. Studies show that 90% of impulse purchases are forgotten about within 30 days. That means if you implement the 30-day rule, you'll eliminate 90% of your want spending. On a $4,000 income with $1,000 in want spending, that's $900 you save per month. $900 per month is $10,800 per year, $108,000 over 10 years. That $108,000 at 10% return over 20 years becomes $280,000 in wealth, all because of a simple psychological tool. Wait 30 days. The 30-day rule isn't about deprivation, it's about clarity. It's about distinguishing between I want this and I need this. Once you distinguish between them, your spending naturally drops. Here's how to escape paycheck to paycheck. Step 1. Build a $1,000 emergency fund. That's your immediate goal. Everything else can wait. Step 2. Cut your necessities bucket. Look at rent, car, utilities. Cut aggressively. You're aiming to get from 70% down to 50%. Step 3. Implement the 30-day rule for wants. Wait 30 days before buying anything non-essential. Step 4. Put the savings into bucket 3. Whatever you cut from necessities and wants goes into savings. Step 5. Expand your emergency fund to 3 to 6 months. Step 6. Shift from emergency fund to wealth building. Now you're investing. This isn't about deprivation. You're not cutting everything. You're being intentional. You're saying, I'm going to spend consciously on things that matter, and I'm going to stop spending unconsciously on things that don't. That shift alone will break you out of paycheck to paycheck. The timeline depends on your income. If you make $4,000 per month and you free up $900, you'll have $1,000 in the bank in 1.1 months. From there, building a 3-month emergency fund, $12,000, takes 13 months. Once you have that safety net, you're no longer in survival mode. You can think clearly. You can build wealth. Most people never make it past step 1. They build $1,000, then they spend it on an emergency or a want, and they're back to zero. Don't be most people. Commit to the steps. Follow through. Here's what I want you to do this week. Calculate your 3 buckets. How much of your income is going to necessities, wants, and savings? Write it down. That awareness alone is the first step. Then, commit to building a $1,000 emergency fund. That's your first goal. Once you have that, you can think about everything else. If this video helped you, drop a like and comment, what's your biggest spending leak? What's the one thing you're going to cut this month? And subscribe because I'm making more videos on escaping the paycheck to paycheck trap and building real wealth. You're not stuck because you're unlucky. You're stuck because your brain is defending a lifestyle. Once you defend your future instead, everything changes. Let's get it.